Hello, Tesla Nation! You're watching the Tesla Life live with your host, Mark Coughlin!
Hello, everybody! Oh, we've got the sound effects rolling on high. Exactly. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Patrick, for that great intro, and Casey Quick on the electronic clapping. He's right there.
The morning zoo.
Oh man! Well, it's a great day. We saw the Tesla shareholder annual meeting, which happened yesterday. Hello to Hockey Day and Derek, first in the chat room, and let's get to it. There's a ton of news, but first, let's introduce our co-hosts today. We have Mr. Casey Green joining us from South Carolina. How are you today, sir?
Doing pretty well. I just got back from, not just immediately, but just this week, got back from the service center in Savannah, Georgia. Because
how was that visit?
It was one of the better ones.
Oh,
yeah. Surprisingly, I did not expect it would be, and it was. But we put in a mobile ticket, and it turned out that they needed some equipment that didn't fit in the mobile rigs that we have here, and so they redirected me to service, and got there and got my second ever Model X loaner, which was incredible. It was exactly 1 year older than mine, same color, different seat configuration, the 100D. Got my CCS retrofit. I got the reason we were there was the car was throwing a low coolant message across the bottom of the screen, so they refilled the coolant, got an alignment so that hopefully I don't have another blowout. And I mentioned CCS, and then the other thing that we had called them for was the cover to the driver's side Falcon Wing had been smashing itself to bits, so there were just big chunks of just metal just randomly. This last time it wedged itself in the latch and the door wouldn't close, so opened it, removed the detritus, and then it closed, and they checked off everything on the box, and now I've got a CCS adapter. So if anybody wants a CHAdeMO adapter, I have one available.
Okay. So there's no real need in your area for a CHAdeMO at this point. Once you have a CCS adapter.
In my area, there are no standalone CHAdeMOs. They all have CCS on them, so I could save some weight in the car.
Exactly. Also joining us, Mr. Patrick Connor from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
Hello, I'm good. It's been nice and warm here. Lots of sunshine pouring down those kilowatt hours into the solar panels, as you can see. And for our little did I lose you guys? No, there we go. For our little Tesla adventure, we just went down to the coast and had a nice trip there for the day. And the city we went to had supercharger, so it made that real nice and easy. And walking along the beach, we saw harbor seals and an eagle, and it was a nice day at the beach. And that's the nice thing about this side of town is if it's hot here in Portland, you just head to the beach, and it's always nice and cool there. So it was a fun day. Nice road trip in the Tesla.
From the Portland area, about how many miles is it to the coast?
50 to 80, depending on which city you go to.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
excellent.
Speaking of sunny day, now every 120-volt circuit in my house, except for the baby's room, the washing machine, the dishwasher and disposal, and smoke alarms, is battery backed. And in fact, we're running on battery right now.
Wow.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're not quite on battery yet. Give it another hour or so. We're just running on sun, so we don't even need it.
Our rate plan is a little weird. It's you get a bonus for everything you export, and then you pay regular price for what you import. So I put it on battery during the sunshine hours.
Yeah, is the bonus better or worse than what you pay? Is it net metering or better than that?
It's net plus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I think that's why
so the more you bank with them, the better it is for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And versus if you use it yourself, you don't pay them, but you don't get any bonus either.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, let's get on to the news of the week, and of course, the first bit of news is let's talk a little bit about the shareholder meeting, which happens once a year, and kicked off just yesterday at Giga, Texas, where they seem to have had a kind of a show and tell out front before you got into the meeting space, and of course, they had all the models out there. Including a couple that were painted at Giga Berlin. So there was the two new colors that were out front, the Midnight Cherry Red and the Quicksilver.
Let's stop doing that.
Why?
Because
that's their new cool.
They have no plan to bring them here, so I keep bringing them here.
just a tease.
It just saves everybody a trip across the ocean to see what the color looks like in reality.
Yeah,
I don't think they're shoving your face in it, saying, "See what you can't get." See.
I don't know. I got legacy-itis, so.
Casey's getting salty.
Oh man! And then, of course, they had it looked like the newest version of the CyberTruck prototype, but it was on a kind of a pedestal that was. Couldn't get near it. So you were the people that were there had to walk around the outside of it. It looked like they were probably a good 15 feet away from any side of the vehicle. So
I've been nearly done or something.
It's something that they definitely didn't want anyone traveling over to it for sure.
I think that's the line for where you should stand to throw ball bearings. Isn't that what that was?
Did it have the Texas rack on it?
It did not.
It did not. So it's probably a different vehicle.
Right? I'm sure they have a few running around now.
Very well could be. Or maybe they didn't get that one out of the mud.
Still in the sand with the cyber shovels.
They just left it. Forget it. It's too much trouble.
Get more of these back home.
Once it's buried in the Texas mud, just forget about it.
Send it to crash testing.
There you go.
That's its punishment.
Yep. Exactly. So, of course, Elon got on stage, started to discuss some different...
Before Elon got on stage, though, we had corporate news.
Okay. Why don't you go over some of the corporate news?
Well, the only one that stuck out to me, because remember I started late, I forgot they were on, was JB's back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they agreed to everything that was in the agreement except for I think they decided they were going to do more frequent reviews of executive pay than Tesla wanted. That was the one item that differed, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then JB's back, which I thought was weird that they were trying to keep him out. Some of the boring bonehead question people, because without him, this company wouldn't exist the way it does today.
Yeah, I don't know why there'd be any opposition for JB not getting a seat on the board. I get it, like Steve Jobs coming back or Elon coming back. You might have some reservations about the stability and the things are going to be a little topsy turvy. But JB, come on now. Yeah, he was pretty down to earth and pretty straightforward. So. Not kind of surprised there was any opposition, but he got over the opposition and was elected to the board. So that's good as far as I can see.
I wonder if this is the first step to using more materials, recycled materials from Redwood.
It'll be fun.
Tesla using them.
I would think that that's probably a foregone conclusion between JB and Elon, and has been since JB left the company. I think JB's move to start up Redwood Materials was probably orchestrated by the both of them long ago. They said, you know what, we're going to need recycling in a big way, and it probably makes sense for us to get out in front of it. We know we don't need it this year or next or within the next 6. But after that, we're going to need those materials. So why don't we corner the market and put an actual company in place that is their job to recycle and recycle effectively, so Tesla has an ability to grab those resources.
Plus, when he left, it would have been a really bad time for extra distraction on Musk there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them buy it back, because now there's a lot less opposition to them buying stuff like there was during the Solar City days.
Oh, I hadn't even considered them buying them out.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
I don't see
Especially
why he has to be independent if he's a founder, though.
Like especially if they start to make inroads. Well, maybe that would be a problem if they made inroads with other automakers, that Tesla is to buy them out. That may limit what they could actually, provide to, because some would not want to use the same supplier that is owned by Tesla.
Right.
So
this is a good point. That is exactly what they were concerned with, is that he wasn't independent. I'm just, he's a founder.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to get any less independent than a founder.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to Elon getting on stage and talking some updates. He basically started with the Master Plan 3 and just kind of went into almost restating it. Not with anything new. It was basically a recap of what they had talked about previously. But he did mention that since the white paper was released on the public website, that there was no real opposition to the numbers that Tesla had proposed to make, basically the Earth sustainable. How much terawatts of energy is going to be required, how much land mass it was going to use up, the ability to allow heavy industry to use hydrogen and other sources to allow steel to make steel and to go through the different concrete creation and things of that nature. How much is actually burnt as the world, what the United States would require to do. So really, I think he just wanted to let people know that that Tesla has been pretty close with the numbers that they came out for this plan, and because of the lack of opposition to the numbers that Tesla has published, he just wanted to let the crowd know that they're on track, and a sustainable future is going to come. He basically indicated that this is something that we will get to if we do not become compliant.
What kind of future would that be?
That would be Patrick's future, but
a future free from fossil fuels. Yes,
of course he couldn't mention that because Patrick has that patented, and that would be a problem.
I'll give him a license.
the only real opposition I've seen to it are aside from the seat of the pants, this doesn't feel right, just loudmouths, have been politicians and people who are part of the fossil fuel Mangate.
Oh yeah, if fossil fuels pays your mortgage, you're going to be like, that's a horrible plan. I don't even know what I don't like about it, other than it doesn't pay me. I hate it. It must be wrong.
And then of the people who actually are of a scientific or mathematical background, the only opposition I've seen there is that they just didn't think that they could get everybody on the same page, but they didn't disagree that the numbers do work out if you actually have just a slight little bit of willpower to it.
Right. The thing that I liked about this is when they did the Master Plan 3 reveal, I don't remember how long that event was. 2.5 hours, 3 hours. It was way too long.
Yeah.
And this.
Oh, that one was 4 hours.
Yeah, crazy long. This took all those highlights and boiled them down into a nice, 5-minute presentation. And
15 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it was, and from that perspective, you got the message. There were some. He hit the highlights. It's not. We're actually going to be mining less than we are today. So for everybody who's like, oh, you have to mine all this stuff to make these materials for batteries and other stuff. This gets us to, if you're using fossil fuels, it's mine and burn, which means you're mining forever. Whereas if you go to batteries, it's mine, build, recycle, build. And every iteration of that recycle, you have better refined materials, more advanced technology that use less materials each time it goes through. So it's the right path. It's the one that actually gets you to sustainability, unlike the one that we're on now. So you're just a lot of little points like that all just hit boom, boom, boom. And I thought it was
And the
so much
recycling is
better.
elemental. It's like these are elements that when you melt them down, they turn back into what they were. It's not like
Right.
recycling paper and wood where it gets worse every time you do it. With plastic, even worse. You can only do it once.
Yes,
At least
and it's
wood,
not
you
like
can do it a couple times.
yeah, and it's not like fossil fuels where it goes out of a tailpipe and you never see it again, except
Never see it again.
yeah, except when it comes back as a hurricane.
And then the other thing that he touched upon, of course, with the Master Plan 3 is battery storage. That is the key element of this that both supplies the cars, allows them to drive, and also stores the excess energy collected by solar or wind or other renewable sources, and then holds it for use when the sun's not shining and the wind's not blowing. And he indicated that, of course, the bottleneck that Tesla sees at this point for all of that right now is the refinement of lithium. It's not the mining of it, not the collection of lithium. It's the refining to get it into a formula that can be used in the battery packs and not degrade the battery packs. So if you don't have the proper formula, you've got a battery pack that will not be superior, will not be able to go the number of charges that Tesla currently does, and of course would limit the battery's life, and with a formula that's not quite optimized. So it's important to do so. And he indicated that they've been talking to many industry players, and they realized that no one was moving to get refinement going. So Tesla's decided to pick up that ball themselves and start developing more procedures and try to get the refinement of lithium similar to what they've done with other sub-industries streamlined. So it's quicker, more effective, and cheaper to do. So, and I imagine that they will share that information with others as time goes along, because it benefits Tesla if others get into that same game and is able to produce that refined lithium at a faster rate too. So this is a kind of discovery for them. The Corpus Christi location is going to be a discovery for Tesla to see if they can actually refine it cheaper, faster, better. So that's where they're heading.
Right. They were able to
reduce steps too.
Right. Yeah. They were able to drag the entire auto industry kicking and screaming into electric vehicles. So now they can drag the lithium industry into more refining and better processes.
Speaking of dragging the entire industry, CyberTruck is going to be 48 volts, as well as all the rest of the Teslas going forward.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. And he talked about the savings in copper. That just from that, he said copper's obviously not going anywhere. He said there's lots of copper to be had. That's not the issue. But of course, if you can reduce the amount of copper that you use inside a vehicle by 3, 4, or 5 times, then of course the savings are there. The car becomes lighter, it gets more range, and overall the cost is cheaper. So it's just why use certain things, because the industry has used them for 100 years,
right?
And no one has gone beyond that because they said it's too hard to get the suppliers to change, so they don't even try. Whereas Tesla is like, oh, we can't get the seat manufacturer to make a more comfortable seat at a cost competitive price. We'll build the seats ourselves. We'll build the plant right beside it, and we'll start shipping them through a tunnel right over to Fremont, and we'll be installing them in the car. So that's the kind of thing that Tesla does, and I'm not surprised that this vertical integration continues and will continue.
Yeah, the last 2 times we did this was 24 volts for heavy industry, and from 6 to 12 volts for everything else. So over 100 years. Right.
Yeah. Mark, you make a really good point that there are probably going to be some components that they can't get some supplier to make, and so they'll do it themselves. And until
then Mercedes will say, I want that, and then somebody else will start building it.
And then that'll bootstrap the industry, and then they'll get to a point where everybody can switch over and just ride Tesla's coattails into a better solution. And then I also like the point you made about how now it'll take a third or a fourth of the amount of copper for all the wiring in a car. So that means if you have a car that's 15 years old and gets recycled, the copper that comes out of that can make 3 or 4 cars now.
Right. Yeah. And only that, but cool. the equation on obtaining automotive grade, wiring grade, computer grade copper is the same as lithium, except that you can't. Well, you can, but not as easily. Just do some desalination of seawater to get copper. Copper is a little bit harder to obtain, and there's more of it, but the process is not as simple as lithium, and so that alone will help keep the cost down. And as Patrick said, you use less of it per car means you can make more cars with the same amount.
Right. It's kind of funny. Lithium was a byproduct of many other refining processes, and in many cases in the past, a decade plus ago, it was thrown away because there was no market for it. And now it's like, yes, please give us more. Refined though.
Yeah, you had a little bit of medicine and some button cell batteries, and then what else did you use it for? Just throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then moving on, I guess we can talk about this as we're talking about lithium mining. Is that it was brought up in both the Q&A and during the presentation itself, is that Tesla has decided that they're going to provide a third-party audit for Cobalt. Even though, of course, they're not using a lot of Cobalt. Elon had indicated that the majority of their vehicles' battery packs are LFP, which uses 0 Cobalt. But he said, we don't want anyone to believe that this Cobalt that we do get is being mined illegally or on the backs of children. And therefore, we will submit to a third-party audit and make sure that that's not happening. In fact, he said we'd even set up webcams at the mining. If anyone sees any children, let us know. But I think that's a joke, that part of it. But they are serious. They are serious about the audit and having a third party do the audit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Although if he does do the webcam and you see kids there, make sure it's not bringing your kid to work day or something like that.
Bring your kid to the mine is not a good work day.
No, probably
not. I don't see them actually digging in the mine.
You're just showing them. Yeah, exactly. What else we got? They broke into discussing, of course, the big question: is CyberTruck still on time? And the great answer was yes. We are still moving towards the end of the year deliveries. We heard last time about the delivery event at the end of the third quarter. Elon didn't say anything about a delivery date. He didn't say it, but he did say deliveries happening later this year.
It's going to be like the Model 3. You're going to get like up to 30 of them at Christmas time, and then the year ends. And then, you can get one that's been ironed out.
And it was kind of cool that a few videos that they showed during the presentation, you could see a group of Cybertrucks. It wasn't just one. There was like 4, 5, and 6 in the background of some of the videos that were shown. And I'm sure that was on purpose as well, because and we got another video. Another photograph from the drone army over Texas showing a Giga casting for the Cybertruck, because it was so large. People are saying that that's the only thing it could be for. And they plopped them right by the back door and kept the door open. So obviously they wanted the news out from the drone army, and that was definitely done recently. So it looks like, obviously a mega press is up and running. One of the 2 that are there is absolutely punching stuff out. And it's good to hear that Cybertruck is currently on time.
One of my favorite Q&As was finally the Performance Model X is actually going to get the performance modes. Somebody's like, what about track mode for the Plaid X? And Elon's like, the Plaid already has track mode. And they're like,
right,
not the bus. I got a P115. It doesn't have any of the stuff that the other performance cars have.
Elon seemed to be surprised it didn't already have it.
Yeah, it's like who didn't do that? Look around the room. Whoops! You got people diving for cover, run to the chairs. But and after, of course, the Cybertruck, then Elon broke into some high volume vehicles that he spoke about. He talked about 2 new vehicles that he wanted to stress. We haven't been sitting on our hands. These things are actually designed, and we're going to make them. And I think you're going to love them. And then on the screen, it showed a silhouette of
like a Model 3.
Model 3 or a smaller Model Y. Looked like was in a silhouette. And he had indicated that that he believes that both these vehicles together will be pumping out about 5 million a year. So if it's like the last presentation, there was this smaller vehicle, and then we believe some sort of van or bus was going to be built on the same platform. But he didn't show any photos beyond the silhouette. That was it. He didn't even really talk about the second vehicle, but he did indicate that both of them together, about 5 million a year is what they're aiming for. And we had heard from others that the Mexican site, which they talked about, that was, they didn't talk about building it or if it was starting or what day it was starting, but they did talk about that that plant was one of the high volume plants that was going to be used to make some of these vehicles. So
yeah, I kind of got the implication that some of it was happening this year, and if that's the case, then I think it's just Project Highland and whatever the Model Y version is. But if there was no date on it, then I think it's Model Next and the other one that was under the cover. Unless he thinks it's the robot, but
well, that of course was the next thing. Was the Dance of the Robots showed up. Optimus, which has lost the name of Subprime, I noticed. It's just Optimus. So obviously Elon's feeling better about what the robot's abilities are, and of course the video showed some of his dexterity. Showed a number of robots wandering around the office. Looked like a gang, really. A gang of Terminators rolling around the office.
Let's get back to work.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of extra videos showing the dexterity of the actuators, being able to feel an egg, not crush it, but in the other case, they're able to push harder on things if it's not an egg. Showed some of the hand movements, its ability to slot things, to pick items up, to reorganize them and put them in other boxes. And Elon had said that he's extremely pleased in the team's ability to push the robot's abilities forward every time they show it. So that's a plus. And of course, again, forward looking, saying that how many robots are people going to want? You know, that does
at least 2.
1, 2. Is there going to be some that want 10? You know, he says there's going to be 5 billion of us on Earth. Is there going to be an equal amount of robots? Maybe. So he's going. I can't see the robots not being the most profitable part of Tesla in the future. Because of the sheer crazy volume numbers we're talking about, if everybody wants a robot. So again, forward statements, I realize, but Elon's never shied away from saying what's coming in 5, 10, 20 years. So this is what he's saying for the robots. Next,
it's going to do well. I don't know how long it's going to take to get there.
Yeah,
I was impressed that it's almost as agile as my toddler.
And he also made the point. Didn't he also make the point about the robots? He wanted to talk about FSD and say that, remember, the software we're writing for the cars is also going to be used for the robots. So we're saving time by building it for both as we go through the throes of FSD beta and the car's ability to use it. So, and they showed a couple of videos of the robot with it sensing its environment and the hard objects and things to avoid in it through its video cameras.
Yeah, and Akita brings up a point that Elon tried to distance himself from for a moment, just because it's approaching toddler level. But I mean, that's what it's going to be for. Like if you can send 1,000 robots versus 100 people. It's gonna be easy.
Oh yeah, you're going to
or
need,
send both.
Yeah, do both, but like
send the robots first, have them
Yeah.
get stuff ready, and then have the people go.
they don't need to breathe.
Yeah, they can handle the harsh environment a lot better than people.
Exactly. And they complain a lot less. But at this point, anyways.
And you don't need to bribe them with booze.
When AI gets to the point that it just can complain, we're all in trouble.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
my job. You don't get to take that.
That's a warning sign right there. If the robot starts complaining. Yep.
Speaking of robots complaining, that was part of something else Elon mentioned, is that he is not going to be stepping down at Tesla. They need more under the thumb from him. And then it came out that he's micromanaging the hiring again, down to the point where this wasn't brought up there. This came out separately. Even contractors need to be approved by him personally first before they can get started. And a company of tens of thousands worldwide. So we'll see how
they have 130,000 employees.
Yeah, 126,000. Yep.
We'll see how well this works out. It never has in the past with him.
If anything, it'll slow hiring down, and maybe that's his goal at this point.
That's probably exactly what he's going for.
Yeah.
But that's also when we end up with these like across the board 10% firing everybody, even like the only mobile tech for a whole region. not because he was doing a bad job, but just because his number came up, which was
next. He opened the floor to Q&A from the audience, the shareholders that were there, and we got some interesting questions and answers from that. First one that popped up, or close to the beginning, was that a gentleman had said, he had made the case for advertising.
Yeah, Kevin came up and Elon apparently didn't realize we wanted advertising, even though we've all been telling him for 12 years now.
Yeah, that was Elon at the end going, well, if I read between the lines from the amount of applause for that, it would seem that everybody wants some advertising. So he promised that they're going to do a little advertising. That's all he said, a little. So
but maybe if they're buying ads from some of these places, they'll stop attacking their customer.
Well, where do you think he's going to put ads? It's not going to be hard to guess. Yeah, exactly. They're going to go on Twitter.
It would also make sense to put it some of the other places, so some of these organizations would have reason to shut up.
I think we're going to put this out as a Twitter poll on our Twitter account at the Tesla Life. But my thought is that he shouldn't bother with Twitter hardly at all.
He's already got the market covered there.
I think he needs to go to the places where people are unaware of Tesla.
Right.
I think he has to go to the mass market
for all of them,
because the people that are in social media or some of social media, they already know about Tesla and they probably own one. So it's not effective advertising as far as I could see. He's got to go places where they're not.
Right. Well, his new Twitter CEO is an advertising executive, so hopefully she can point him to some effective ad buys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was
that was funny. He kind of made the comment of, here I am, I don't like advertising, but yet I own a company now that is completely advertised based.
It's dependent on it.
Yeah. He's going, I'm kind of saying I love ads and I don't like ads. It's kind of doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed that he said, sure, we'll do some ads. I know we've talked about how Tesla has demand levers, and advertising is certainly one of them, but it doesn't seem like they're at a point where that's what they need to do.
Right. And I hope it's more like what he said a couple times ago in the past, where it'd be more of like an education campaign rather than, hey, come buy this thing. Because they don't really need to sell anymore right now. They just need to get steady where they're at.
Yeah, exactly. So they need to do an ad campaign that is unlike the way any other company would do ads and not just sales. And so it'll be interesting to see what they come out with.
Like a cross between the early Nissan Leaf ads and the GM EV1 ads. They were more because they knew nobody was going to buy an EV1 because it wasn't for sale.
Yeah, they were almost anti-selling in some cases. Yeah.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because those ads were kind of quirky in the beginning,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, here in Ontario, the Ontario government, which has been pushing EV adoption, has put out an ad for Ontarians that is completely wacky. And I'm going to send it to you guys so you can take a look at it. I'll put it in the notes. I'll put it on Twitter.
Okay.
And you guys can react to this Ontario ad. I think they just wasted their money, but that's just me. I'd like to see what you guys think of it. So I'll get that out to you. And of course, you watching the show, you can get that ad on our Twitter feed at any time.
I wonder if it meets the goal that you were talking about, where it appeals to people that haven't already got the message. Since it doesn't appeal to you, maybe it appeals to them.
that maybe is the case.
Or maybe enough to get your Facebook uncle to stop saying, see, these things always catch fire and the battery is going to need replacement before your warranty's up and blah, 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 BS that doesn't make any sense. And I didn't think it through.
Next,
while you mentioned the haters there for a moment and the uncle thing, I saw an article on Sunday that was talking about a Tesla crash, and they made all kinds of horrible assumptions in this article, that assuming it was on FSD, and they had a link to the police report, and so I went and looked at that, and there was nothing in there that said they were on FSD.
Jeez.
And so I wrote a reply talking about how, this is sad, but crashes happen. And the thing that FSD is trying to solve is that humans are just generally bad drivers. And if we get to a point where this can replace humans, the casualty rate is going to drop significantly. And how right now it's beta. You should not trust your life to it. You need to be at the wheel, paying attention, ready to take over at any point in time. And so I wrote that comment, and then it went to moderation. It didn't get posted right away. And so I went and I checked the next day, and they had modified my comment and reversed everything. And when made it so that it looked like they took my comment and just made it sound like I was agreeing with them and bashing on FSD.
Wow.
And I was just like, what a horrible website. And I'm not going to even say the name because I don't want to give them any clicks.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, you just don't post the person's post. You don't change their post.
Yeah, it's their blog. They can
it is
post or not post what they want. Yeah. But to take my stuff and plagiarize it and revert and make it look into a lie, that's unethical.
Wow. I hope you make a little blog post on your own blog,
right?
carswithcords.net, and show the two differences. That would be interesting to see.
Another point on that same one that's not in the shareholder brief is that Green the Only found evidence that Tesla is starting to analyze alertness. They're looking to see if you're drowsy. They're watching how many times you yawn, and if you're drifting in the lane or leaning over in the seat. They're not yet doing anything with it, but I can see the next step being, hey, just like you see on some Mercedes and others, like, hey, you should drink coffee, or you should pull over and take a quick rest.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and that's even without autopilot, right? That's
right,
something
That's
outside of
anything with the camera just watching you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be interesting. Actually, there should be a little score clock, and you get -1 shows up in the corner. It's like, why do I have a -5 in my corner? You click on it, it's like, you fell asleep 5 times, my friend. You're lucky you're alive.
You're lucky you're alive.
How many times we saved your life count?
Somebody suggested that when it sees that, it should amp all the safety features up beyond the normal values.
or just drive you home and park it, and it won't turn on anymore.
Next, 8 hours later, I'll start.
Exactly. Put you in Tesla jail for half a day.
It's like a toddler. It's nap time for you, mister.
That's right. You're locked in. Sorry. You blew it, my friend. You blew it. Next, he talked a little bit about a question came in about NextGen Roadster. And his comment is, what happened to that? Who's in charge of that? And of course, he kept things light. He said basically design is done this year, if not now, and he believes that they're going to go into production as of next year. So it's another year away for those waiting for the Roadster, and that's kind of unfortunate. I realize that
on the cake.
he keeps talking that this is an extremely low volume car, but I think what it symbolizes is more than its low volume. This is a car that's going to take the world by storm as a supercar. This is a car that's going to blow away all the other gas cars. And I think that that needs to be out front. It's another free advertisement for them. All those crazy magazines like Motor Trend and Car News and the World of Cars, they're all going to be beating down their doors trying to get a hold of one of these cars to test it out on the track and to drive it, to test the handling, compare it to all the other $2 million cars. And I think it's a wave of great PR for Tesla. And I think it's far too long. We should have that car on the road. It should be something that's a bit of a priority. Again, I understand it's low volume, but they should be able to make that fairly easily then, because there is such a low volume. Even if they have to have a line that's mostly by hand, great. You're only going to put out a few thousand models to start with. So make them as good as you can, and let's start getting some of that PR rolling.
And he reconfirmed the SpaceX package.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a better use of their time and resources than ads. It's going to get them a lot of press. It's a halo car. It puts the ultimate smackdown on gas vehicles. So this is a way better way to get their message out, in my opinion.
If they're going for traditional advertising, I agree. If they're going for the education campaign he talked about in years past, then I'd say they're probably a wash as far as which one is probably about equal.
Yeah.
But one will be way more exciting.
Right, exactly. That's what you need, is enthusiastic people. And this is going to grab car folks and get them to say, wow, Tesla's no joke. And really it still gets dismissed by a lot of folks. And when they're putting down the numbers that the Roadster is going to be doing, you can't ignore that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say kids lucky day. Moto has like 30 Matchbox cars. She's got a larger fleet than me.
Next, they talked a little bit about insurance. The rollout is incredibly arduous because of the paperwork that has to be followed with multiple states, but they indicated that Florida is coming out next, and it will be this year. But it sounds like they're running into bureaucracy when trying to roll it out. So it is what it is, and they're just having to get through the paperwork. Florida will be next.
Yeah, when I was looking at states to move to, my insurance company suggested I do not keep Florida on the list for any reason whatsoever. That if there was an incident, my fault or anybody else's, that they would fix it and then they would let me go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Florida could use some insurance attention.
Well, yeah, Florida's also been having issues with other types of insurance, right? Homeowners insurance, flood insurance. There are many things that Florida is facing in this climate crisis, which is detrimental to insurance companies and, of course, the people that own that insurance. There's a crisis that's coming.
Because gamble. I bet you something's going to happen. We bet you not. And if you both agree that something's going to happen, then there's no point in selling you the policy.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Time to leave.
Insurance companies don't like to pay, and in Florida, they're going to pay. So
yeah. Next, he was asked a question about is there an RV planned in Tesla's future? Yes. And he indicated no, not at this time. But he went off on a tangent about the Cybertruck and how it's an excellent camp vehicle that can be used. So he talked about the ability for the Cybertruck to be modified. And of course, that's what this new attachment points, they're called. That I think we saw a little bit of that at the lithium opening of the Corpus Christi location, where they had those black sidebars on it across the roof as well. There's some sort of attach points in the bed or around the bed of the Cybertruck that they're going to be sharing with third-party groups so that accessories can be built for the truck. And that includes camping items as well as others. So didn't get into any, didn't get into a lot of detail, but he indicated that that's what they're building for the third-party guys so that they can use these things as well. So not unlike what they talked a little bit about with the 48-volt architecture, that there's going to be some some guidance that's going to have to be given to third-party manufacturers as well, based on the 48-volt system that Cybertruck will have upon launch.
That's exciting right there.
Yes, indeed. So that was
Cybertruck snowplow.
So that's the basic. He also reiterated about the Cybertruck, because there has been some speculation in the press that it's not going to be an exoskeleton. Elon had said again during this presentation, it is definitely an exoskeleton truck. So
it's like an airplane, but they're not 100% stressed skin. Like the skin isn't supporting everything, but if you take away an airplane's stressed skin, it loses a significant portion of its capability.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and that's correct, Hockey Day. I really hope that they have some sort of snowplow for us Northerners. It's something that's going to be required. Hopefully, the truck has been designed that it can do some of these things that other pickups currently do. And I would think snow plowing is going to be a big thing. Could be a big thing for anybody in the northern states, or of course Canada.
He also kind of was aiming to cushion our ideas on the cost of this thing. So the plaid version is going to be ridiculous, clearly.
Yeah. Well, that's about the basics of the meeting that happened yesterday. We're going to take a look at a couple other stories this week, not as many as we normally do, since we've chewed up a lot of our time on the meeting. But one thing that I felt was kind of important was the Tesla Referral program, of course, is back. And Cybertruck has been added as a raffle prize for the referral program. And that's only in the US. But a bonus was that Canada was excluded from the referral program until last week, and now it's been added. So now everybody in Canada has the option, as well as the US.
Yeah, so when we say it's back, we're saying back for vehicles, because it never really went anywhere for various versions of solar and Powerwall. Mm-hmm. But you now get credits instead of a number of referrals, and it's kind of got like a little shop. So you can decide what you want to use your credits on. You can buy supercharger miles, you can buy accessories, and you can buy was it Roadster? Something? No, you can buy FSD, and it was a whole hell of a lot of thousands of points, because you got to make up $15,000 of points. So
yes,
to get FSD.
Yes, indeed. So there's a number of low-hanging fruit items and a number of high-hanging fruit items, such as the FSD is in the listing. So that's good. I think that was something that they felt the original referral program was a little bit too rich for what they were offering, or maybe a little heavy on supercharger use. And they thought, let's back that out. But now they've decided that let's bring it back and bring another level of prizes into it, so people can pick and choose based on just one referral that they get, or multiple referrals that they get. So
if you bought a loaded performance car and then don't travel anywhere you need superchargers, they still want to give you some incentive there.
Yeah, the old referral program was crazy, where people could get 2 roadsters. That was nuts. It should have it shouldn't have gone more than half off of 1 roadster. That should have been the cap. That way they're still getting revenue for the car and still giving something of value to the referee. But yeah, it was crazy.
Yep, it certainly was. But of course, that was part of the advertising budget, wasn't it? because the people that won those Roadsters seem to be pretty well all YouTube influencers. So anybody that gets that car is definitely going to be putting it on the YouTube channel, and that's all free ad revenue for free ad publicity for them. So another piece of information was, of course, coming from the drone army, and someone cornered a Model 3 Highland edition, and the drone was hovering right over it, filming video, 4K video. The guy opened the door. It's almost like the thing buzzed inside, but it's amazing that these drones are everywhere. There's not a surprise there. They're buzzing the skies. And what was interesting is the drone was able to pick out when the person put the car into drive, they noticed that he didn't reach for a stalk to change the gear from park to drive. There was no stalk. So speculation is that, of course, the stalks may be gone in the Highland version, save themselves a part and a cost. But that's not confirmed.
They put it in reverse. He swiped the screen, and then the car went backwards.
So it's certainly not a confirmed item, but it's looking that way. Why would they have that in a prototype if that wasn't going to be the software that would be used? Because you'd be testing something that didn't exist in the new car. So I don't know. It's I'd be willing to bet that it's going to lose the stock.
Hopefully, they also put the airbag button for the horn back.
Yeah,
I had more opportunity while I was at Tesla on Monday to again practice palming the right side of the wheel to make it beep, and it was inside the showroom, and so somebody had the foresight to make it do the alternative horn while in park, and so instead of beeping, it said, "I never."
Oh, that's funny. I did not know that was an option.
Yeah, so I just went like this, and it, I never.
So yeah. So are you saying, Casey, that the horn has been fixed to a
No, I'm
press?
saying that if they're going to increase the volume beyond 2,000 vehicles a week, it would be prudent to make it in the center, because I mean that's not like every car, but like it's
almost every car,
Right.
especially since we left the 90s. Like it's been kind of a convention to make the middle of the steering apparatus be a beep.
Yep.
I agree completely. Yeah, I think it would be a mistake to release it as a button to the Model 3 and following the Model Y because there's such high volume.
It does show
car.
as a single like touch button. It doesn't show as, hey, you can just mush all of this. Thankfully, that part does exist, but there's no indication that that's there. So, yeah, and it's still off to the right of where you would expect it. Because
another bit of news about Project Highland is that Fremont factory has applied for some different permits to deassemble and reassemble different lines in the factory. One of them being under a tent that they have. Fremont obviously still has a number of sprung structures where the vehicles are made. So there has been a permit filed with the government that they want to do some reassembling and assembly of the lines. So that could be Project Highland starting to work or get things lined up for the changes that are required for the new vehicle. Again, speculation, but pretty good speculation based on, we see that Shanghai is also talking about the same thing, about removing or updating lines. And of course, that would be another place where the Model 3 would change to the Highland variant, most likely. We've always heard that Shanghai is typically first with these changes. So it'll be interesting to see if Project Highland is actually released there first. Another bit of information, Tesla, of course, has they asked on social media for improvements that could be made to the company, and I welcome this wholeheartedly. They should be asking more of these type of questions on the social media platforms all the time. Because it engages their customers and their fans and lets Tesla know what the population is feeling or thinking about when it comes to Tesla vehicles. And not the number one, but I believe it was the number two was the FSD ability to possibly migrate to another car, some sort of payment scheme or one-time fee or something along that line. But man, a lot of people were talking about that, and I'm really not surprised because we hear it all the time. We hear it on the socials about people saying, I want that ability, or I'm not buying another car until mine is completely, I'm done with it. Like I don't want to spend another $15,000 on the car US when a new one is purchased, because I already have FSD and I feel it should be able to be transferred over for some sort of fee or something. So
yeah, there's a couple of things worse on the new car for me. The radio for life, the FSD is I had to buy it again, and the charging for life, you can get up to 6 years at the moment, but come on now. It's not, there's enough, not compelling enough without being able to transfer some of that stuff over, even for a transfer fee.
Right. So this is how we got waypoints, right? Yeah. It was the community demanded it repeatedly and loudly.
And asked repeatedly.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. And if it were up to Musk, he made it clear that he would never have done that. He just didn't see it as important. And yet we have it. So I think the same thing applies here with the FSD transfer and some of the other things. If that's holding you back from upgrading, that's not what they want. But if you're willing to pay some reasonable amount so that you're not just, getting something for free for life, that seems reasonable. You get something out of it
until the robotaxi comes out, or two, or one after the robotaxi comes out, and you keep doing it until then. Come on now. How many cars?
Yeah, I think what they need to look at is a number of these people gave you a interest-free loan to develop the software for an awful long time, and some of them have even lost their vehicles to accidents or other things that never even got to use it. Some of them still have the cars and have old hardware that they cannot use, that Tesla has promised that they will allow them to work on that platform. So yeah, why not wait till the thing is fully released and then maybe have some sort of program all the way up into that point that you can transfer it to a newer car until it's fully released. And then you give everybody, another 2 months grace period, and then that's it. At least that would allow everybody to experience it, that bought it, that gave you that interest-free loan. I think that
it's meant to make sense. Not just we turned it on your car and it's a third-rate experience.
So I definitely think Tesla should consider that as they navigate this this request.
Well, so if they're asking this question, I hope they're actually willing to listen and do something about it. You can't just ask this to get engagement and then just ignore the results.
Right.
That's not going to fly for very long. That engagement level is going to drop. People are going to be like, well, we told you clearly what we wanted and you ignored us 6 months ago. Why should I respond to you now? Why didn't you do what we asked for then?
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to get salty remarks like that.
I'll show you my legacy.
Well, with that, let's.
Did we mention about the right-hand drive big cars?
No, I don't think we covered that one.
No, that's right.
If you were in line for an S or X and you're in a right-hand drive country, it's not happening. You've been offered they've fully refunded what you did pay, and they've offered you, for most people, they've offered you a discount on a Model 3 Y or something in inventory. I saw some people said that they got a discount on a left-hand drive, which I don't know that works in most of these right-hand drive countries, but I guess maybe some have both. So.
Some allow it. It's not illegal to have
allow you to import it.
Yeah,
but I imagine it's not like UK and Japan, is it?
But it might not be the safest vehicle to have in that situation.
That's true.
Especially trying to make
it's going to be really hard in the drive-thrus.
I see that here in Canada. Some people import like a British MG or something, and the steering wheel is on the other side. So it definitely does happen in some countries. But again, as Patrick mentioned, I don't think it would be the safest solution for the masses. It's something that you need to be a bit of a I don't know. You need to be a little bit different to have that vehicle as your main vehicle, or to be switching back and forth between cars with one's on the left and one's on the right. That would be difficult, I think. But this is speaking from someone that's never tried it. But
I was actually surprised how easy it was to switch when I went to Ireland. I thought it was I can't. It was a stick shift, and I'm going to have to shift with my left hand. I don't know how. And it was a piece of cake. I was surprised.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And Casey's got the photo up showing the mega casting of the new.
Oh, that's
Cybertruck.
obviously part of the semi. That's not Cybertruck. I'm kidding. Who knows what those bat wings could be?
Very good, very good. Well, with that, let's do some shout outs and head out for the evening. Casey, what do you got going on this coming week?
And I'll have a assortment of EV and green living topics to discuss with you all, and then we'll head on out into the week, because this news never sleeps.
Very good. Casey, you kind of got garbled. Give the address again.
Yes, it's youtube.com @CaseyGreen. That's KACEYGREEN.
Perfect. Patrick, what do you got going on?
Hello. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally, carswithcords.net. And if you post a comment, I promise not to alter it and then post it.
As do I. It's a solemn promise. I might not post it, but I won't alter it before I post it.
Right. I might respond and say you're completely wrong or whatever, but that would be an actual. Yeah, that would actually be an actual fair exchange.
I urge everyone to go to carswithcords.net and put in as many comments as you like. So Patrick is not going to touch them. So with that, thanks everyone. Thanks very much for joining us, and get together with us next Wednesday where we'll find out what's happening in the Tesla life.
Stay positive, test negative.
Thanks, Lee Moon.